And then I'm going to record.
Did you go to the one change it or no?
We're ready, sir.
Thank you very much. Good day, everyone, and welcome to the April 25th meeting here at GHURA's main office in the first floor conference room in Sinania. It is now 12:02 p.m. and I call this meeting to order. To begin with roll call. Commissioner Shizaki. Present. Thank you very much. Commissioner Sanchez. Present. Commissioner Rice. I see you online. Commissioner Rice, are you there?
Yes, I am. Sorry.
No problem. Thank you very much. Commissioner Corpus. Present. Okay. And I know Commissioner Delia had sent in. We also have council here, Mr. Nishio, thank you for being here, and other staff management from GHURA. All right, we have a quorum. We'll move on. Item number 2, board meeting public announcements. First printing on Tuesday, April 18th in your packets as affirmed, and Sunday, April 23rd also in your packet. And that is affirmed, right? So first and second printing is there. We're good. Moving on to approval of previous board board minutes of April 11th, 2023 in your packets for review. Any corrections?
Yes. Page 3 of 4. Item 2, line 4. Director Napoli indicated that the documentation needed for this item presentation had not been received. Should note that.
I'm sorry, where is that?
Page 3 of 4, item 2, line
Item-
4.
Okay,
It's just an additional word. I guess it was just missed. It should
Okay.
read that the item presentation had not been received.
okay, got it. Have not been received. And on page 2 of 4, bullet point number 3, item number 1, there's just an extra space in the $285,192. Be consistent.
Oh, yeah. Right.
Any other corrections?
Yep. Okay. Think we're good to go on that. That's it.
If there is no other corrections, may I get a motion to approve subject to correction.
And I'll make the move to approve the previous board minutes for corrections on April 11th, 2023.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Portes. Can I get a second? Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Nate. Any further discussions on the matter?
No.
All right, hearing and seeing none, may I call for the vote. All in favor, please say aye. Raise your hands. I may see you. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right. Thank you very much. Motion passes unanimously. Moving on to new business. Item number 4, intent to award IFB number 4-23-10-mod 6 AMP3 renovations of 6 public housing units. Madam Executive Director.
Thank you, Chairman. Intent of award, IFB number GHURA-23-10-mod 6-AMP3 renovation of 6 public housing units. Bid opening for the subject project was held on April 6, 2023 at 2:00 p.m. A total of 4 contractors purchased a set of bid specifications, of which all submitted a bid. Listed below are the results of the bid submissions, which were opened and read out loud publicly. Contractor number 1, Valcon Guam LLC, with a 15% bid bond. Base bid number 1 at $260,961.48. Contractor number 2, Genesis Tech Corporation, with a bid bond of 15% and a base bid number 1 of $233,000. Contractor number 3, Guam Evergreen Corporation, with a bid bond of 15%, base bid number 1 at $207,740. And contractor number 4, OH Construction, with a bid bond of 15% and base bid number 1 at $183,000. The government estimate was at $216,185. The intent of the project is to modernize unit as per scope of work. Base bid 1 consists of 6 vacant units at the AMP3 sites. Of these 6 vacant units, 4 units are located in Agate and 2 in Mauricio. Modernization includes, but is not limited to, cleaning the building interiors and common areas, replacing exterior and interior doors, carpentry, painting, plumbing, sewer replacement, and electrical work. A detailed scope of work is included in the bid documents for review. In review of the bid results, OH Construction provided the lowest responsive and responsible bid. OH Construction has completed several GHURA projects over the last 3 years with good standing. They also have been cleared by the Department of Labor Compliance, OSHA, and EPLS debarred list attached for verification. Based on AE staff's review and determination, we are requesting approval to issue the contract to OH Construction for the total amount of $183,000. Funding is available under the Capital Fund Program.
Okay, thank you very much. Any questions?
Chairman, on page 3 of 106, the Labor Department, from the labor and their wages, all of the wages, what's the stuff. It seems like they already expired the time this came out. Are these fine because of the extensions on the bottom here, or am I reading this wrong? And I'm seeing 417 across the board, and then on the bottom, 1116 on Victor Town, Genesis Tech 630, and so forth.
Madam Secretary, I guess that's a question for you.
Here it is.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand the question. I couldn't hear it right.
If you look at page 3 of right, of 106, on the chart where it's looking, where it shows the Department of Labor, right, Commissioner Purpose, that's where you're at.
Yes, sir.
The question was the expiration date.
Mr. Chair, if I may,
Sure.
only the workman's comp has an expiration date on there. The other one would be the report validity date. So they would just update. But I'd also like to add that before any payment is actually made on the contract, our wage compliance officer is constantly checking them weekly based on their payroll
Excellent.
to enforce those standards.
So nothing's expired.
There were probably status dates.
That was just the dates checked, right?
Yes.
Dates.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other questions on this one? Model 3 performance. If there's no other questions,
And it's just the one, and this is kind of like pass through, but on the exterior painting, are they gonna, have they switched to a mold resistant paint? As opposed to what they're putting on now, because any of these amps, if you go by, there's black mold everywhere on the roofs and even on the sides of them. Knowing myself living in housing, it does migrate inside on the ceiling. Because of humidity, we keep the doors open, windows open. I mean, not on this one, but maybe in.
I'd have to get back to you on that one, Commissioner.
Sure.
And if it is, I will report back to you
That's
as soon as
what
possible.
so just for the question was, is the paint that we're gonna use mold resistant, right? Is that, and,
There's still be the lowest bidder. We're just
right,
having that extra,
right.
Yeah, I'd like to say yes, but let me confirm.
Okay. So Sunny will verify that. Okay. Any other questions? If not, may I get a motion to approve so we can get these units renovated for us?
So, Mr. Chair, I'll move to approve the award of IFB number GHURA -23-10 mod 6 amp 3 for the renovation of 6 public housing units to OH Construction in the amount of $182,000.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Suzaki. There's a motion. May I get a second?
The second motion.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Sanchez, for the second. Any further discussion on the matter? Hearing seen none, may I call for the vote then? All in favor, please say aye. Raise your hands. I may see you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Thank you very much. Motion passes unanimously for the intent award. IFB number GHURA -23-10 mod 6 amp 3 for the renovation of 6 public housing units to OH Construction in the amount of 183,000 even. Thank you very much. Moving on to change order number 2, IFB GHURA -8-26-2021 home. A design, build, and construction of 2 new homes in Agate and Dedham. Madam Executive Director.
Thank you, Chairman. The change order request number 2 for GHURA 08-26-2021 home. The design, build, and construction of 2 new homes in Agate and Dedham. Proposed correction to alleviate water runoff to the rear adjacent lowest most property with additional construction works consists of the following. And this was for lot 12B2T240, Estumbo, Chalan Panau, and Dedham. There's a description there of item number 1, which consists of wall by 2 by 8 inch high with number 4 vertical bars at 16-inch OC, and number 3 I think that's horizontal bars at 16-inch OC with 12 inches. Whatever that description is, I'm sorry, and I can have maybe Sunny go into detail regarding it, but item number 1 is at a cost of $7,000. Item number 2 is to reinforce the concrete curb at $5,000. And item number 3 is infiltration trench 20 inches wide times 30 inches deep times 20 feet long with 2-inch diameter and drain rock at $3,700. And the proposed cost is $15,700 as a lump sum basis for the total lot, labor, and materials. All work to be complete in substantial work, man-like manner. And the extension is of approximately 20 days to complete the project. I can have Mr. Sunny maybe explain what happened at this project in this home in, we're calling it the Panau home in Dedham. Sunny is there, right?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm there.
Sunny, maybe you can elaborate just a little bit more on what happened with that construction.
Of course, not a problem, Madam Director. Let me ask Ms. Audrey to put up on the screen a little bit of the site conditions and a quick presentation. Okay. And if I may ask the board commissioners to turn to page 9 of 106, please, of your packet. Okay, Ms. Audrey, next page, please. Okay, what I'm presenting to you are the site conditions and existing conditions and the site contours. So hopefully you can kind of see and appreciate what the next door owner or the next door neighbor is undergoing right now. This project started sometime early this year, putting up a 3-bedroom home with the site conditions such as this in Dedham. Now, as you can see here, the neighbor is about 4 feet lower than the canal home right now. So from there, you can pretty much guess that the water flows a lot towards him. And so we received a complaint about a month ago saying, hey, your house is causing my area to flood. And if you can see view A, you are at that the red yellow A there. That's kind of, if you were standing near the property, that's where this point will be, about right here. This is kind of where you're seeing that from that point of view. Okay, next slide, please, Ms. R. Okay, view B, my apologies here, I made a mistake. View B, this is where Andrew is standing at on view B. So you can see where the fence line is at, and the next door neighbor is right above. this barrier. This is what I will be asking you to approve, which is this colored area along with this trench here, but I won't go into that yet. And view C is right here next to the carport. As you can see, the contours of the property does lunge kind of towards the neighbor. And so when it rains, the rainwater, the storm water just kind of flows in that direction. So what we had done, I had asked the A&E engineers to do a concept design and to see how we can mitigate the stormwater from fully entering into the neighbor's property. In your packet, there are 3 items in change order. There is the barrier. There's a concrete, like almost a little retaining wall, like a 4-foot retaining wall, which is the yellow area there. There is the green curb here, which is item number 2, and the little entrenchment area, which is this green area on the far right-hand side. That provides adequate water, I don't want to say catchment, because it's not really catchment, but proper water diversion so that it doesn't go all into the neighbor's property. And I think, may I just go back to the previous slide real quick, Ms. Audrey? Just wanted to make note that there are blue arrows here that show you the water flow goes from both sides of the house. Because originally, when the original property had all full-on vegetation, and it was also 4 feet lower than the neighbor. It was almost a little near to lower than that of the neighbor's property. So he didn't feel any kind of water flow until we had to remove all the vegetation, do the grading, do the fill, and of course, all that displaced the permeable surface that was there before, with all the vegetation and all the soil. So now he feels the full brunt of the storm water going into his property. So we propose, along with, we propose and with an engineer to do those 3 items there, which is the yellow retaining wall, which is the curb on the green side, and the entrenchment basin. And that total amount comes out to 15,000. Now, of course, there's a question where could we have hired an engineer to design with the proper site contours? Yes, we could. And again, it is a lesson learned. This is one of our lessons, that instead of this being an after the fact request, we could have hired a PE to do the site contours. But 2 things that we had to keep in mind was that we had to work with a limited budget for $1 per square foot requirement. This is a homes requirement. But I've talked to our in-house engineers, and so AE can prepare standard design, standard concept designs, and then when we go out for bid, we can use that. Just like what you see there, the footprint, that'll be the standard concept footprint for contractors to come in and prepare the bids. If we can do as best as we possibly can. If there are any sites that have a lot of vegetation, then of course we're going to have to hire a surveyor to clean, grade, and survey the site. So that is my presentation.
So Sonny, I have 2 questions. How much fill was brought in?
Oh, it was about.
And what is the total cost of this house? Without the changeover?
Oh gosh, sir, I don't have that with me. But the total fill, let me put it this way. I got to tell you a story. That's why.
At least 4 feet.
Yes, sir. At least 4 feet.
Cubic.
See over here, there's a curb here. It's kind of like the road curb to where the cars come in. And so at this curb, already the property, if you look at the contour, this is the ground, the grade, I guess. The property was already sloping down. And so we had to fill it. Otherwise, if we didn't fill it at least to the grade, then the stormwater would fill into our property. So it's at least a foot higher than the regular grade. So total was about 6 to 8 feet of fill that we had to bring in. And in doing so, we raised our property higher than that of the neighbor. So lessons learned, yes. I think it possibly could have been preventable. I don't know, I'm not a civil engineer. I'm the aircon guy, ask me if it's hot, I can fix it for you.
It's-
Maybe it needed to be a split level house.
Or something on. Yeah,
Good one.
Okay.
so, but that's the story behind the change order, commissioners.
What was the road? Infiltration trench.
I can get the number for you.
I think it's good for all of us to see what the cost of construction is. Like the total square footage and the cost.
Oh, yes, I'll get that for you, sir.
Be terrifying.
It's terrifying.
It's terrifying.
It's very cool.
Any further questions? Okay, if not, may I get a motion to approve?
Mr. Chair, I motion to approve change order number 2. IFB number GHURA -08-26-2021- home. Design, build, and construction of 2 new homes in Agate and Dedham. Awarded to Genesis Tech Corporation in the amount of $15,000, $15,700.
And this is a change order request, right?
Correct.
Okay, for the change order request number 2, noted. May I get a second on the motion? Thank you, Commissioner Sadaki, for the second. Any further discussion on the matter? Nope, hearing and seeing none, may I call for the vote? All in favor, please say aye or raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Thank you very much. Motion passes unanimously for IFB number GHURA -8-26-2021 home. Design, build, and construction of 2 Agate and Dedham. Change order request number 2 for drainage correction. Genesis Corp. in the amount of $15,700 each. Commissioners, moving on to item number 3, change order number 5, IFB GHURA -9-26-2017 CDBG for upgrade of baseball fields in Sinania and Umata. Madam Executive Director.
Thank you, Chairman. Change order number 5 for IFB number GHURA -26-2017 CDBG upgraded baseball fields at Sinahanya and Umatic. Infotech International LLC has an ongoing contract for the upgrade of baseball fields at Sinahanya and Umatic. AE staff conducted a meeting with Infotech International LLC and determined the lights would need to be changed. If I may, then the lights that need to be changed are the ones in Umatic. That's the project that's pending completion. The original contract for this project was $810,000. And the changes approved were $286,978.70, I'm believing. And that happened in February of 2019. And then there had to be an adjusted contract amount to $1,096,978.70. And that came about with a contract completion date for July 31st, 2022. However, there had to be an extension, and this change order amount for $15,689.88 is for the change of the lights for Umatic, so that the new adjusted contract amount for the project is really $1,112,668.58. And the new completion date is April 30th, 2023. The cost analysis and justification, they had to remove the existing lights and replace with new lights at that cost. Based on AE staff's review, we're requesting the board approval for a change order / contract modification with Infotech International LLC in the amount of $15,689.88 for the additional work stated above. AE has determined the cost proposals are reasonable and acceptable. Should you have any questions regarding this, actually, Sunny is also here, as well as Kathy, regarding what happened with the lights that had to be replaced.
Why are they being replaced?
Okay, well, if I may, yes,
Or-
ma'am, I can answer that.
Yeah.
Good. Now, before I gotta give everybody a copy. This is change order number 5. So those are the 4 previous change orders to date. Sure, for that. So the previous ones. Sure. Okay, for the record, this project was part of another one. There were these 2 baseball fields were put together. I'm not put together, were put together in one contract, the Sinahanya and Umata. This was awarded back in 2016, and Sinahanya was done first, as we all pretty much are aware of. It was, and the Sinahanya one was commissioned sometime in late 2019, pre-COVID. The COVID came around, it did not stop the contractor, it did slow him down though. So we kept pushing and pushing and pushing until he could do as much as we can and push as much as we can to finish this project. Now, the lights were first installed, Mr. Commissioner Corpus. The lights were originally installed and tested back in mid-22. I think it was July, sometime around July of 22, the lights were installed and tested. Unfortunately, during the time, they were tested below spec. They weren't correctly tested. They were put up there with home generators instead of GPA power. And so there was this one change order that I asked the board for the commissioners to approve. I think it was change order number 3, where we had to go back to GPA and say, hey, we need the correct electrical design to be installed. And we told the contractor, you need to do this. So when we went back to GPA, got the design, had the contractor run new lines and test these lights with the GPA power, not generator. And so now, after about a year, almost a year, some of the lights have already failed, sir. And so now, that's what the change order is for. The lights have failed. And so we're replacing them so that we can have, I guess, all the lights functional. Let me give you a status update though. The lights are leaving the US manufacturer site today, and the ETA is for May 19th. Now, I know you haven't approved the change order, but nonetheless, we're having them bring the lights regardless. And also it is 99, this project is 99% complete. The occupancy permit has already been received. We have the occupancy permit. So this is the last part of this project. Before really ready.
So was this a design problem or inferior products installation problem? I'm not sure what it is.
Well, sir, when the lights were first installed, they were tested with home generators. You know, the Coleman. I want to sit down. Oh no, they were tested with Coleman generators. Now, maybe they were generators of the 240 volt version, the higher voltage, so that way the lights would come on. And when we had moved on with the project, when we had kept going with the project, we did notice that GPA came by and said, hey, your installation was incorrect. The lights, I'm sorry, the wiring was not done to their code. we saw it as, wait a minute, if you approved it back then, why are you disapproving now? And so we didn't want to get into a GPA fight, like maybe it was a different inspector, maybe it was a different designer. But nonetheless, we just said, okay, fine, GPA, if you feel this way, this is what will require us to get your approval, then we will comply. Because it was already approved, sir. Back then, the construction drawings were approved for the first round of lights, first round of design. The second one, GPA said, no, it shouldn't have been approved. Who are we? We're just going to go with your.
There's another piece of information, if I may, Mr. Commissioner. The lights that were purchased for Umatic and Sinahanya were purchased by a single manufacturer, I want to say 2019. After COVID, that manufacturer went out of business. So the warranties that were there on the lights, they can no longer be enforced, they're collected. So the contractor, instead of enforcing the warranty, trying to get replacement lights like they had done, with Sinahanya, if they have, some defective ones coming from the factory, they were unable to do that for Umatic. So they had to go source something that would be compatible, and that's what brought us to the $15,000 amount today would be for that portion. So I think that's a critical piece of information.
Thank you. Thank you.
Is it powered 120 or 240?
240.
So it failed because the wiring, in conjunction with that wiring problem, is that?
GPA standards, right?
Yeah.
It didn't fail, sir, in terms of failure. It was more of when it was tested, it wasn't tested to specification. And then GPA stepped in and said, the design, the way we inspected it, and the way that we want it, is not to our standard. You need to fix it if you want our approval. And so who are we to come in and say, okay, fine.
So the lights work, they're just not in code with what GPA is asking.
There you go.
So what are we gonna do with the lights?
They're not all damaged.
Right.
I think when they tested, I know when they tested them to the GPA standards, they found that some did not, that were not up to spec. And so in those instances, then the contractor would normally go and claim warranty on those specific lights, not all of the lights.
Right.
Just the specific, the defective bulbs. And so that's what they're out to do now, is just replace only the defective bulbs there.
Yes.
Okay, got it. And so we're at least as confident or sure as we can be that if we further test the ones that have not failed, or.
But they've all been tested, sir.
But we're sure that the rest of them are going to be okay. Okay.
So the delivery date on this is May 19th?
That's the ETA.
Okay, so then the completion date will be pushed off from
Yes, sir.
April 30th.
Yes, sir. When we close the project, once and for all, there'll probably be one more date correction.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Good enough.
So these are 12 lights? How many are we working on specifically?
12
That's correct.
12, right?
12 lights.
12 bulbs.
197 each, huh?
Oh, very good.
Yeah, these are
Some pretty high-end bulbs, right?
That's a lot of lumens.
140,000 lumens.
That's a lot of
Better
lumens.
trigger a C-shirt.
Oh, okay.
So no epileptics. There you go. Yeah.
Blind.
This will be, well, when we push off the completion date, it'll still be around summer.
Just about, right?
Yeah.
Destinations.
End of the month, we're hoping for end of May.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Again, the silver lining is we do have the occupancy permit. It's just not completed to the final spec, so we can't close it out in our book.
Right, that game's.
Now, they're already using it. Yeah. So they're excited. Yeah.
Good. Give this up for the kids for the summer.
Yeah.
Okay, just for the light bulbs.
Right?
So that $8,000.
Okay. If I don't have any more discussion, can I get a motion to approve?
Mr. Chair, I move to approve change order number 5. ISB number GHURA -09-26-2017 CBBG upgrade for baseball field at UMass in the amount of $15,689.88.
Thank you very much. Rocky,
I'll second that.
thank you, Commissioner Carl, for the second. Any further discussion on this matter? Nope. Hearing and seeing none, we call for the vote. All in favor, giving life to our kids. Thank you very much. Motion passes unanimously for IFB number GHURA -9-26-17
Just for the poll.
CDBG, right? For the amount of $15,689.88. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Moving on to item number 4, summary of Deputy Director Board Evaluation. I guess, Ms. Kim, this is you.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Good afternoon, Commissioners, Director Liz, Deputy Esteves. I'm pleased to report out the results of their initial evaluations for the executive management team. We had 100% participation, so I thank you all for your support and cooperation in getting this done. So let me recap. Pursuant to 5 GCA section 43202, the GHURA Board of Commissioners decided during their July 8, 2019 meeting that each board member would evaluate both the executive director and the deputy director, and for their completed ratings to be submitted to the Human Resources Division for compilation. Although the law specifically says it's required for the director, the board chose to evaluate the deputy as well. So based on the overall ratings received, Mr. Esteves earned a highly satisfactory performance evaluation as GHURA's deputy director for his initial 6-month period, which started on August 22, 2022 through February 21st, 2023. So that represents a 6-month evaluation period. So his performance evaluation was based on 13 factors: leadership, strategic planning, communicates vision and direction, champions innovation, promotes ethics, builds relationships, decision-making, leads change, inspires and directs action, promotes diversity, accountability, fiscal fiduciary responsibility, business acumen, and effective operation and maintenance of HUD's plans and projects. So as a result of everyone's participation, Mr. Esteves received an overall rating of highly satisfactory, and they voted to retain him as our deputy director for GHURA. So with your review of that, I request a motion to accept the overall rating.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Kim. Commissioners, anybody have any questions or comments for the board? I think on my behalf, right, I just like to say that the highly satisfactory rating, in my personal opinion, is Deputy said is very well warranted. Right? Appreciate the hard work that you put into it, right? And I know we've had several discussions about some of the plans and the things that you have you put together, and I know some of that just based on my experience are not easy to do. So I appreciate the work that you put into it. I also sincerely appreciate you taking charge with regard to helping us clean up and clear up a lot of the policies and procedures that are important to the organization moving forward, right? And helping us to sustain that ideology and culture so that we don't have as much difficulty moving forward as we've had in the past, right? So I think that that's if that's 6 months, then I'm excited to see what you're going to do in the next 6 months. While you're at it.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
If I may comment, Chairman, I am really very pleased that Deputy Director Esteves joined GHURA and was appointed by the governor to be at GHURA, because he has really been very valuable to the mission of GHURA. And I continue to look forward to ongoing partnership with him as we work together for GHURA. So I thank him very much for his contributions to GHURA.
Thank you very much. And I think that's an important thing to note too, right? Want to sincerely thank the governor also, right? For her wisdom and counsel in bringing you here and allowing us the opportunity to work together. I think that also speaks to her leadership, and it's well noted, right? So thank you very much. Thank you. Commissioners, anything else?
No, I think you're doing a super job. And I got an email from you and I didn't respond. So, so I think you did great. I think I left a little bit of room to highlight your next time frame. So that's my explanation for it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
I would concur with everybody. In addition to that, thank you for your service, serving our country as well, and having the means to juggle and balance the dichotomies of facets of professional and personal life has been nothing but outstanding. To say the least.
Thank you, commissioners. Really appreciate it. I'm glad to be here. I look forward to our continued work together. There's a lot to do.
Absolutely.
And I hope go Dolphins. And I
Go
hope you finish
Dolphins.
law school. So you
I keep getting emails from the online JD program at UH. I don't know. We'll see.
I'm not the only one. It's just me.
No,
I thought somebody was
I got
hinting me. Okay.
That's right.
I think you should do is before you get too old.
True story.
All right.
Yes, sir.
20 years.
Yeah. Okay, so if there's nothing further, right, may I get a motion to approve the board evaluations for the deputy director for the review period of 8/22/2022 to February 21st, 2022 for his initial 6-month evaluation.
Chairman, I move to approve Fernando, Deputy Director Fernando Esteves. This is highly satisfactory. And the Board of Commissioners also approves to retain Mr. Esteves as Deputy Director of One Housing.
Motion on the floor. Thank you very much, Commissioner Nate. Do I get a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Commissioner Carl and Commissioner Wright, also for that acknowledgement. Any further discussion on the matter? Hearing and seeing none, may call for the vote. All in favor, please say aye. Raise your hands. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Thank you very much, Commissioners. This motion passes unanimously. Right, congratulations.
Thank you.
Moving on to the summary of Executive Director Board Evaluations, Ms. Kim.
Okay, thank you again, Mr. Chairman. Now for the director, Liz, based on the overall rating submitted, again, this is required by statute for me to have you guys complete this and then for me to post this on the website. So after your review today and presentation today, I will be posting it on the website. But based on the overall rating submitted, Director Elizabeth Napoli earned a highly satisfactory performance evaluation as GHURA's Executive Director for her initial 6-month period, which started July 8, 2022 through January 7, 2023. Again, the performance evaluation factors were 13 elements, dimensions. For the record, I'll just read it again. Leadership, strategic planning, communicates vision and direction, champions innovation, promotes ethics, builds relationships, decision-making, leads change, inspires and directs action, promotes diversity, accountability, fiscal and fiduciary responsibility, business acumen, and finally, effective operation and maintenance of HUD's plans and projects. So as a result of the 100% participation by the board, Director Napoli received a highly satisfactory performance evaluation for this period, and you all voted to retain her as the head of our Guam Housing and Urban Authority as our executive director.
Okay.
So with that, I request the board to adopt or approve her rating as completed by folks.
Thank you very much, Ms. Kim. Commissioners,
Well, I think Liz has done a super job, and I think she had kind of the shock takeover of running GHURA and for the passing of Ray, and I think she did a good transition into that. And so
right,
kudos to her and congratulations.
right, absolutely, right. And I echo that sentiment, right? Executive Director Liz, you've done a fantastic job absorbing the helm, taking the helm, right? In the midst of everything coming out of the pandemic and in the circumstances that you did, right? I don't think anybody anticipates to absorb like that, but you did, head on. I think that in seeing what you have done, right? I know your first you were you've done that, and you've done a fantastic job about at making sure and ensuring that the operations were and the continuity of operations continued, right? In the wake of all of that. I think now after 6 months of doing that, right? And I will also say that this list is pretty exhaustive, right? In order to be an executive or a leader nonetheless and have all of these criteria on you is a pretty tall order, right? And it takes a really spectacular person to be able to meet these guidelines day to day. But I will say that on my note and a personal note, now that we've established the footing, right, and given GHURA the abilities, and especially with a lot of the work that the deputies also that I alluded to, right, we've stabilized GHURA as much as I think we can at this point. And rather than staying in that motion, I think now we need to look to the future and really start our strategic planning, right? And really pick up the helm and pick back up, right? Looking at the vision of where GHURA is going to be in the next 5 years and plotting that course, right? I know there's a lot of things happening on the HUD side. They've given us indicators of where the legislation is moving, where the money is moving, and the things that we probably need to do to meet that. Obviously, our communities are in sore need of this. We have our current challenges in the housing markets. And we're always playing catch up, right? And I think that that's not our fault, but I think it's an exciting opportunity to do better, right? And so it is just my hope that we start looking now more strategically and not lose sight of the operations day to day, but really take GHURA to where they can be, right? For most of us on the board, right, we'll probably have a few more years left. And so it's my hope that we see some of that, at least some of those seeds start planting and see the fruits of that before we get off our tenure, right? So that's just my hope. But nonetheless, again, you know, to echo the sentiment of Commissioner Zaki, it's a well-deserved, high satisfactory rating, right? Commissioners, anything else? Okay, hearing and seeing none, may I call from
Mr. Chairman, may I say something?
Absolutely.
I think it's as leaders, it's equally important that that we receive feedback from our subordinates. So I would just like to say, you know, in the short time that I've been here at GHURA, I've been extremely happy to be working in partnership and under the direction of Executive Director Liz Napoli. You can definitely see the type of maturity you can only see from somebody with the amount of administrative experience that she has, that she's bringing here to GHURA. Definitely the calm in the storm that GHURA needed during such a turbulent time before I came on board. And I'm very happy that of our shared vision to promote a positive work environment that really sees the peak performance and potential of our employees. and those that we work with. Creating an environment to seek professional development and mentorship of not only our employees, but even our managers. And so we're really looking at creating that long-term vision for GHURA. And, we say it all the time, at the end of the day, the truth is we're temporary. And so the lasting impact that we leave on GHURA that can sustain whether we're here or not is our shared goal for the organization. So I just want to say I'm very happy to be working with her, and I'm grateful for the board's evaluation and decision to keep this team together. So thank you.
Absolutely.
And as for a 360-degree feedback, I can speak on behalf of the employees. They're really pleased with Ms. Director Liz. She's fair, she's firm, and she just has a heart that's always looking out for the welfare of the employee, and that's what it should all be about. So there's your 360-degree feedback.
And I appreciate that. If I may add to that, it's a clear reflection and representation of what our director and deputy director have facilitated amongst our GHURA family. And you can literally see and experience what that was like during our Christmas party, and just the sheer harmony of how this organization is structured and how it's being run. You can clearly see that reflects the leadership at the top and the loyalty that they both have created in this environment. So we commend you, and we thank you for all that you've done to maintain the state mentally, emotionally, professionally, and financially, considering that we're post-pandemic, we lost our director, and God knows all the unforeseen things that have happened and what will happen. And as Chairman Chairman just mentioned, if I may reiterate what he said, and what Deputy Director Steva said, that we're all temporary, and it would be quite nice to see us, at least this group now, make a mark before we either expire or jump ships or whatever the case may be. So yes, I absolutely agree.
Right. Okay, thank you very much. So with that, right, may I get a motion on the floor?
Oh, and if I may, I just really want to again thank the board for their support, because really without your support for everything we present to you, then our work would be a lot harder. And of course, I'm a people person, and I also know that I'm a public servant, and whatever I do here is really thanks to the hard work of the many employees that have been here for decades, many of them here for decades, and my trust in their institutional knowledge and their dedication to their jobs. And so without them, really, the deputy and I would really be probably having more of a difficult time in trying to make sure that what we're doing now is for the long term, because that is our goal. We're really only here temporarily, but we want to make sure that the agency is going to continue to thrive and be successful in meeting their mission for the long term, for like decades to come, long after we're gone. So that is my hope and the deputy's hope, and that's what we strive for. And we really thank everyone, employees and the board, for their support. We're really trying our best to make sure GHURA continues to do well for the people.
Absolutely. May I get a motion on the floor?
Yes.
Chairman, make a motion to the review period of 7/8/22 through 1/7/23, 6 months in operation. Of Elizabeth and Maxie, executive director, and retain her as executive director.
Thank you, Commissioner Forfeit. May I get a second?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Nate, for the second. Any further discussion on the matter?
What's the party?
What's the party? Subject to party.
Subject to party.
Hearing is none, may call for the vote. All in favor, please say aye or raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right. Thank you very much. Motion passes unanimously. Congratulations, Executive Director. And Ms. Kim.
Okay, Commissioners,
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, I have one more item on this matter. This particular law does require their 1-year evaluation.
Okay,
So it's fast approaching. Director Liz's 1 year will be up in July,
okay.
as well as Deputy Esteves will be in August.
Okay.
So pardon me, I will be sending those out again and sometime in June.
Okay.
So just a courtesy, okay?
Yes.
All right,
Thank you
thank
very
you.
much, Ms. Kim, for
Okay.
always keeping us
Thank you very much,
right
Commissioners.
on track, on track. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Ms. Kim.
Thank you, Ms. Kim.
Congratulations, guys.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
This item number 5, intent to award IFB GURA -23-03 CDBG -5 TREN for Telefocal Renaissance Concrete Repair.
Thank you, Chairman. The intent of award for IFB number GURA -23-03 CDBG -5 TREN, the Telefocal Renaissance Concrete Repair and Renovation. So the bid opening for the subject project was held on March 2nd, 2023 at 2 p.m. A total of 4 contractors purchased a set of bid specifications, of which all 4 submitted a bid. Listed below are the results of the bid submissions, which were opened and read out loud publicly. Contractor number 1 was Guam Evergreen Corporation with a 15% bid bond. Base bid for base bid number 1 and 2 at $516,880. Contractor number 2 was Bascon Corporation at 15% bid bond. Base bid number 1 and 2 at $442,754. Sorry, that I think is a typo. It should say contractor number 3, OH Construction, with a 15% bid bond at $304,000. And contractor number 4, Genesis Tech Corporation, again, that's a typo. It should say number 4, with a 15% bid bond at for base bid number 1 and 2 at $245,000. The government estimate for this project is $346,870.81. Base bid number 1 and 2 is a design build project to repair the existing roof concrete spalls, removal of existing electrical work, and the renovation of all 5 homes. A detailed scope of work is included in the bid documents for review. Due to disparity differences between the government estimate and Genesis Tech Corp prices, the AE staff requested Genesis Tech Corp to submit a methodology and schedule of value for review and to determine if they understood the scope of work. GURA's AE staff reviewed the documents submitted and has concluded that the Genesis Tech is aware and understood the magnitude of the scope of work and cost. In review of the bid results, Genesis Tech Corp provided the lowest responsive and responsible bid for base bid 1 and base bid 2. Genesis Tech Corp has completed several major GURA projects over the last 10 years with good standing. They also have been cleared by the Department of Labor Compliance, OSHA, and EPLS.
Okay, she's frozen.
Base bid 2, and the total amount of $245,000. Funding is available under the CDBG funds. And if I may, in case you're not familiar with where the Telefocal Renaissance 5 homes are, they're up near, it's near the baseball field, if I'm not mistaken, right, Sunny? The baseball field in Telefocal? There are 5 homes there.
That's below the school, right?
Yes, yes, sir.
Yeah,
Near-
yes, yes.
Those are not occupied, are
No, sir. They're not.
they? And we were gonna convert them for half the houses years ago. Didn't work.
Commissioners, any questions?
Maybe I got a question for Director Liz. It's like, why were those homes never occupied?
Sorry. Actually, they've had problems over the years, and they were supposed to also, the Adelup of the governor's office, there's several different agencies that had interest in them over the years and wanted to, have them for their use, but they never came through. And so I can have Kathy speak about some of the history. And then Kathy, if you might maybe just let me know if the last line is correct, funding is available under the CDBG funds. I think that might be an error.
Aye.
Kathy?
Hello, commissioners. I'm sorry if I'm going to come in as clear as I can. Yes, you're right. First, Ms. Liz, the line about the funding source, it is not CDBG. It's going to have to be we have identified non-fed funds to be able to carry forward the major rehab that is still due on the project. Commissioners, it was occupied. All 4 of the 5 units were able to be occupied for a period. But as we experienced more and more that the units were falling into disrepair, they were it was not possible to keep up. And the reason is that we had these clusters of houses in Talafofo, in Malesso, in Jigo, and Dededo. These are all houses that were existing from the 60s and the 70s, built as a staff housing for Guam Department of Education years ago. That's why all of them are located near schools. The intention was to renovate them and put them back into service, and we've successfully been able to do so, but not without learning a little bit about exactly the nature of how difficult it is to repair buildings that are as old as that. We have we had issues with the spalling. The major issue is in the ceiling and the roof. And I'm not an engineer, but I do know what spalling looks like when it comes after the conduit to the lighting is pushing through the concrete, and so now it's exposed and falling. And so that's what the repairs were done. We managed to do those repairs at Malesso. We managed to get ahead of the deal in Dededo and Jigo. But when it came right down to it, additional monies were not able to extend to be able to cover Talafofo. So when they went out of repair, we've been working to try to find another organization to take over and still be compliant with an eligible CDBG use. But the director is absolutely correct. The uses that were planned were either incompatible with the area or ineligible under CDBG. Well, that doesn't relieve us of the opportunity to bring it back into service as housing, since housing is in such great need for everybody. Whether you're north to south, we don't have enough affordable housing, and that's what this effort is right now, is to bring them into compliance, so that one way or the other they will be used as affordable housing.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome, sir.
Any other questions?
Hi, Ms. Cat, do we have Commissioner Sanchez, do we have an ETA? Assuming we approve this, of when the construction and all of this, these repairs will be done? Like in month, or that's a study question?
Yeah,
It is,
that was
sir.
pretty sunny.
Okay, got it.
I think you stepped out. Sounds better. the construction, yeah.
I do have some info on that. The plans, when doing procurement planning was we were gonna try to push to have completion done around the end of the fiscal year. So you were tracking as well, Kathy, if I recall.
In fact, we were hoping it by the end of this year at the latest. Even into December, we had some delays, especially with well, it's not a bad delay, but we've had to go through, and now we've got some assistance on the bidding with the procurement side. So everything has been moving much more efficiently since we've had that guidance on stuff.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Our hitch is going to be, and Deputy, our hitch is going to be in trying to work through the permitting to get this thing going. But we're aware of where our delays may occur.
That's gonna be the biggest delay, as is the permitting part, based on our planning. Initially, there was a lot of planning surrounding this in terms of how we were gonna tackle it, because there was at least initially asbestos concerns, right, that we would have had to meet. And so the question was, will we do it all into one, or would we separate it? We opted to separate it, which actually worked in our benefit, because when we had the confirmatory testing done, found that they were asbestos free. So then that makes it a lot less costly and should move it along quicker on the construction part, but we still now have to deal with the permitting timeline. So the main goal to be completed by the end of the fiscal year is so that the earlier we can get this back into compliance under CPG, the better off we'll be. Okay, right? So we can do it this fiscal year, that would be great. But we're basically, long story short, as quickly as we can. Oh, and now we have studies.
Now that you're,
Sorry.
no. We know you're taking care of the band. The question was, what's the ETA on this?
ETA as in construction.
Completion.
Completion.
Yeah.
For 6 months. We're looking at 180 days. From the time the permit is approved, of course. And permit, depending on public works, 1 month, 3 months.
Yeah, silly boy. Permitting necessary for renovation repairs?
Well, it's dealing with structural matters, sir. That's the problem.
The spalling.
The spalling from the roof.
Those are just holes, okay?
I always say I'm just a mechanical engineer. I'll tell you about air conditioning.
Sorry, just on a side note, because Commissioner Suzaki brought up, I remember that, my stepfather mentioning that they were using that as potentially a halfway homes, right?
I was trying to get it.
Yeah. How old are these properties, these homes?
60, 70,
Circa 70.
They look really good for that old.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're basically the same. They're the same constructors as some of the Dean Circle homes. Dean Circle houses.
Okay.
And they look better than these. Maybe it's a paint job.
Yeah.
All right. Corrected on permitting requirements.
Learn something new. Depends on the holes.
Depends on
Depends on how big
it's-
the holes are.
How big the holes are.
Motion on the floor.
Yeah. Guys, funny. That's a big gap, man.
Something to Mata, now we need to get to Talafofo, to be fair. Motion on the floor.
Again, that was a cold one. Mr. Chairman, I motion to approve the intent to award IFB Library Gora -23-03-CD BG-5 TREN Talafofo Renaissance Concrete Repair to Genesis Tech Corporation in the amount of $245,000 even.
Second that motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Suzaki, for a second. Any further discussion on the matter?
We are aware.
Not hearing, seeing none, may call for the vote. All in favor, please say aye. Raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Thank you very much. Motion for IFB dash number GHURA dash 23-03 dash CDBG dash 5 TRN for telefocal Renaissance concrete repair passes unanimously. Thank you, commissioners. Moving on to item number 6, Executive Director.
Thank you, Chairman. I think under, we'll table project updates until the next board meeting. And the only other thing I wanted to let you know is I did want to remind you, and I believe we sent this out when we first got notice from HUD, that we were selected, GHURA was selected for the FY 2023 Comprehensive Compliance Monitoring Review by HUD. So they'll be sending a team out the week of May 8th. And what they're going to be looking at is to assess our agency's program performance in compliance with their requirements and regulations, taking a look at operations, management, financial condition, physical condition, and governance. And they said that, you know, after they do their monitoring, they probably will, it will result in findings, observations or recommendations, or identification of best practices. So there should be a report coming after that, but just wanted to let you know they will be here. I think there will be 4 from HUD coming the week of May 8th. And probably the next meeting will be reporting on how that went. But that's all I have. And I think other than that, the project updates, as we mentioned, the Telefofo, no, not Telefofo, Umatic baseball field is just about done. So we'll be letting you know if there's a ribbon cutting in the next couple of weeks for that project. And we're really looking forward to that. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Then let's move on to item number 7, which is kind of in line with that. Any announcements and general discussions other than the ribbon cutting coming up? The executive director just mentioned. Anything else?
I'd like a quick status report on the Lighthouse Recovery Project.
All right,
I
Commissioner.
drive by and I
Sunny.
Oh, probably because you, well, sir, it's around 50% now. The top, there are 2 roofs. They were, the higher roof, the metal decking has been installed, but the lower roof, the concrete roof has already been installed. So they're roughly about 50% complete.
Anticipated completion date.
We're pushing them. What I say officially is September 30th. We're pushing them for it to be earlier, sometime in August. And also, just as a follow-up to your inquiry earlier, the project cost for the Pinal Agate homes was set at $664,000. That's the original cost for a 2,400 square feet. So it's roughly 1,200 square feet per home. That comes out to $277 a square foot. Pre-COVID costs was at $185.
Wow.
Pre-COVID meaning 2017, 2018. So it's about a 60% increase just over those 2 years.
I'm sorry, excuse me, what, could you reiterate the ETA on the lighthouse?
Oh, Lighthouse.
September?
Officially.
Officially September 30th, sir, but we are pushing them. We're pushing them.
Maybe August.
Maybe
August, yeah.
We were hoping for July,
Sure.
but there were some design issues that we had to deal with. That's kind of
Like
split things
unforeseen circumstances, right?
Mhm.
Oh, I'd like to, so if we're on the topic, if I could just share.
Sure.
When we brought on the additional engineer, if you recall, with the support of the board, Sunny had placed them to do CM, and they were able to significantly catch up with the project. And I believe we're caught up now, right?
Yes, sir.
And we're back on schedule. So just want to extend a thank you to the board for that support, to be able to get this project back online.
Good to know.
Thank you, Sonny. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Okay, other than that, the next proposed scheduled board meeting is slated for Tuesday, May 16th 2023 at 12 p.m. Please mark your calendars, and as always, the great staff here will confirm that with everyone, right? Other than that, right, may I get a motion to adjourn. Right. We got a motion by Commissioner Rice. Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Nate. Anybody opposed? Okay, if not, we call this meeting at 1:22 p.m. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.
Have a good
Thank
week.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good week.
Thank you.